This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
And we're glad to have you here with John Hicks, financial advisor, founder of J. Hagan Capital, for more of the Retirement Solution, working to educate you on the many things you need to know about when it comes to your retirement, ensuring that your money is going to be there to help you have that retirement you've been working so hard to get to. And at J. Hagan Capital, they are here to help you with that plan. RetirementSolutionsShow.com is our website and where you can find us anytime or check out the links we got posted in the show notes. Again, it's RetirementSolutionsShow.com. All right. Thinking of things that we do for our retirement, 401k, obviously a huge saving vehicle for many, many Americans.
Sure.
So I want to do some education about circumstances currently existing. In 2022, Congress passed the Secure 2.0 Act.
Yes.
In effort to help Americans save more for retirement. While most of the measures have already been implemented, there are some new changes regarding 401ks that are coming in 2025. So I wanted to ask you what these changes are. What do we need to have awareness of? Particularly, again, the 401k, huge thing for many Americans. So this is an important subject.
Yeah. So when we think about, saving money for retirement, if you look at our largest asset for most Americans, it's usually our house, right? But we're paying that off over time.
Right.
But if we want to save money, a liquid amount of money that we're going to use to hopefully pull income from, we're typically talking about our 401ks. It will work, right? And years and years and years ago, they were probably a little bit better than they are now. They were more expensive, but we could actually get a lot more company matches. Okay. So we're seeing fewer and fewer company matches, which is a little bit of an issue. But having said that, as much as I knock on 401ks, if that's what you have access to, we just need to make sure we exploit it the way that we can, right? The best way we can. So one of the things that's going to happen for the next 2 years, we're going to have an increase in catch-up contribution. So if you're over 50 years old, starting in this upcoming year, we can actually put away $10,000 a year into that plan. So what is this meant to do? Is to help us catch up. If we're over 50, the government says, a lot of us, when we're younger, we are not making as much money, or we got to use that to spend, on paying for the kids and things like that. And, we got to pay for the house and pay for the cars. But as we get older, we realize, we may be a little bit behind the eight ball. We may need to save a little bit more money. So the government gives us, at least for the next couple of years, we can put up to $10,000 into those 401k plans. Now, you still got to invest it well, right? So primarily look for the low expense things that match your risk tolerance.
Okay.
I really do still hate target date funds. I think they're a ripoff. You're better off saying, hey, how risky am I? I'm a 50-50 type guy. I'm a 50-50 balance type gal. Great. Then put 50% of your money in something like the S&P 500, or take your comfort level on a market investment. And the other 50%, put it in the fixed income bucket, right?
Okay.
We've already started to see that interest rates are coming down a little bit, but still we can get 3 to 4.5% just being in money market over there. So if you have a 50-50 portfolio, let's do the math this year. Half of our portfolio, the market's up a little over 20%. That's not so bad. So we would have gotten 10% on that half of our money, and the other half, if it got roughly 5% over the year, that's another 2.5%. That's 12.5% on our money being 50-50. Guys, that's not so bad, right? Now, of course, past performance is not indicative of future results. Who knows what's going to happen? But realistically, it doesn't change the fact that if we're going to save money somewhere, that's not so bad. So make sure you're taking advantage of those catch-up contributions. If you're going to retire in your early 60s, guys, you better be taking advantage of these catch-up contributions. We're going to need the money. We're going to need it because we're lasting longer, right? We're going to last longer. We keep lasting longer. We're not quite at the Energizer Bunny phase where we just keep going and going and going. But frankly, you'd be surprised. The statistics, I believe, if you're a couple are already age 65, the chances of one of you living to be over 90 is more than 55%.
Excuse me, Mr. Hicks.
Really high.
My dad is 82. My mom just turned 78. They just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. We were sitting at the birthday dinner table with my mom because she's had her birthday. And they were talking about their anniversary cruise to Paris they are taking next year. These two go to the gym. They have jobs. They are planning trips to Europe.
That's exactly it.
I love it. But all I think to myself is all these conversations you and I have about longevity, don't let the good, long, healthy life you're probably going to live be what gets you in retirement.
That's exactly it. We just want to make sure we have enough saved that we can do the things we want. You can always pare back spending, right? But it's really hard to put it in after the fact. So make sure we're taking advantage of those catch-up contributions. That's probably one of the best things that I can see.
Okay.
Now, something that ticks a lot of people off starting this year. So all 401k plans are basically going to be automatic. They're going to force you to be a participant in those 401ks. Now, as much as I hate government intervention, as much as anything, I kind of think this is good. I kind of think it's good because we can always opt out. It's not the fact that they make you do it and you have to do it forever, but they're making it automatic that you're already enrolled. And I think that this is wise. It's just like I always tell my kids, hey, every time that you get a $10 bill, just put 2 or 3 of those dollars aside and just never look at it again. Pretend like it didn't exist and just spend that 6 or 7. Whatever's remaining, you won't even forget. You'll completely forget about that other piece. No different than putting away that money, your very first job. You take away 5% or 6% of that first paycheck. You never miss it because you never saw it, right? The tough part is when you take that money all in and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got $300 less than I had the last paycheck. Well, that's the whole point. So when it comes down to that automatic enrollment, I think it's good. Now, here's the thing. If you're in one of those jobs, or you're out there and you're a new worker, or you're in the situation where you have an automatic plan, see how much they allow you to put in and see how much they'll match. Guys, it is the only, and it's not free because you're working your tush off for that money, right? But you need to try to get the match. You need to try to get the match if at all possible, right? If it's not the job you're going to end up, being in for the rest of your life, it doesn't matter. It's still perfectly acceptable to have that money over there in a slush account that one day in course and time you can decide to change your mind and do something else with it. But the idea of it being automatic for new 401k plans, I kind of don't disagree with that. Again, because we do get the choice that we can change it later, but it's going to force many of us who, unfortunately, let's be real, a lot of people out there undersaved, is going to just kind of prompt us to think a little bit more about that. So that doesn't bother me so much. That's coming up a little bit different, or at least for the 2025 part of the Secure Act. And then lastly, if you're a new worker or a part-time or full-time, you're going to be you will be eligible to participate in those 401k plans a little quicker. That's not going to apply to a lot of people on the show, but point being said, if you're part-time or full-time, you're going to be able to participate in those 401k plans a little bit more quickly. Now, again, it doesn't mean that that's a great plan. It doesn't mean it's right for you. You do want to know the costs. You want to make sure that it's not crazy expensive, because even today, even after they've done all kinds of things to try to make them less expensive, there's still 401k accounts out there, 401k accounts that cost more than 2+% a year. That's really exorbitant, right? So for me in my office, I think that anyone that's paying 1% or less, preferable on the less, all in, including have a quality advisor, that's probably where you want to be. Anything you're paying more, just make sure you're paying a right amount, right? Make sure you're getting the value. Make sure they're doing CPA work, making sure they're doing accounting work, make sure they're doing tax work for you, because that's a big deal. So, but if you're paying anything more than 1.5%, you can probably look another direction, right? So those are the big things about that plan. And hopefully when the new congressional board convenes, hopefully we can get some other good stuff out of these guys. They haven't given us a lot of good new legislation here recently. It'd be nice if we can fix a lot of these other problems, because at least right now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a pretty big, I'm not going to call it a crisis, but we have a little bit of some alarmingness on the amount that people have saved and the amount that it's probably going to cost us to live well in retirement, especially if Social Security, they're starting to look more at and just trying to figure out, can we sustain keeping those Social Security payments as high as they've had them, right? We've already heard, and I've already said on the show before, they've already kind of put out a bulletin, the federal government themselves have already put out a bulletin and say, hey, if nothing changes by 2034, then everyone across the board will potentially have a 20% reduction in Social Security.
It's on the Social Security statements. Don't they have like a whole, it's literally printed on your statement. For the longest time,
On the old statements, it used to be on the second column on the front page and that third paragraph. They've changed a little bit. And so, but now it's still in that same verbiage, but they're coming out so far as saying, you could potentially get 20% less than we're currently showing you're going to get. So if we want to live well in retirement, we just have to know, where is that other money going to come from? So if we're saving more money now for those catch-up contributions, good. If we're paying less in fees because we're being a little bit wiser about some of that stuff, that's also exceptional. But then we just want to make sure we have 3 to 5 different income streams in retirement. I don't care if it's a rental property. I don't care if it's part-time work. I don't care if you babysit on the side. I don't care if you do eatsy stuff or you do antiquing. Like, I got all kinds of clients that go out antiquing. And they can sell this stuff online before they've even accepted delivery, or they pick this stuff up to get it in their station wagon. to put it in the mail to someone else. It's crazy to me. And they'll make a lot of money. When I say a lot of money, one client I have, they make 6 figures a year.
You told me.
Shopping.
I think that's
basically what it is. They make 6 figures a year.
How dare you speak my dream retirement into that microphone, sir?
It's wonderful. And the thing of it is these aren't people that are all, new millennials doing the new thing and being influencers. These are folks who just say, that looks like it's something that someone else would pay more than $18 for.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, we can get $118 out of it. We just made $100. Let's, find something else.
That's right.
And lastly, as long, what we're finishing with 401ks, now remember, the majority of us, after we turn 59 and a half, we do get often the opportunity to do an in-service withdrawal, which means we don't have to retire. We don't even have to leave that company, but we can take those dollars we've already gotten in those 401ks. If it's vested, we can roll that into our own account at Vanguard or Schwab or Fidelity or take your pick. It's often less expensive. We get a little bit more control. And then frankly, we can invest in anything we want, including money market funds or bank CDs, whatever we choose. And so again, it's not that it's right for everyone, but that is one of the greatest opportunities we've had to consider, do we want to make a couple of fine tunes on our own money that we've saved?
Working to help you take your 401k nest egg and ensure that it's going to help you live out the life you want to live in your retirement years. This is the goal at J. Hagan Capital. So if you've got 401ks or IRAs, if you're wondering what opportunities you might have with these savings that you don't even realize, let's get to work helping educate you on those rules. RetirementSolutionShow.com is where to start that conversation with John and his team. We also have links posted in the show notes. Helping you know more about your retirement savings is what we're doing. Find us at RetirementSolutionShow.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with John Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with John and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting RetirementSolutionRadio.com. Be sure to listen to John's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through J. Hagan Capital, LLC, NPN number 1882794.